Hey, I actually recorded this whole video before uploading the first one onto YouTube, so I just wanted to put in a little bit at the beginning to say thank you to everyone who watched the first episode, everyone who liked and subscribed and that kind of stuff. The response absolutely blew me away. I had no idea I would get the kind of traction I did, and I really hope that episode 2 meets your expectations. It's kind of intimidating going from getting 200 views per video to 2,000 views, but I'm really thrilled that I made something that people seem to enjoy. Anyway, let's roll the intro. Hey, welcome back to episode 2 of my Chunk Smash series. Last episode I cut down 21,000 willow logs to get to level 70 fletching, 65 firemaking, and level 77 woodcutting. This episode, I have some bad news. You see, I thought the biggest grinds were behind me. I was wrong. I missed a little checkbox in my chunk picker for show all diary tasks, regardless of tier, which is something I had always intended to do as a part of my rule set. I also missed a second checkbox, spells count as a way to process runes via magic. I've been curious as to why the chunk picker wanted me to get level 5 attack for a leaf bladed spear, but not 55 magic for a slayer staff. This was why. Adding these two changes creates two new big grinds for me. Level 45 prayer for Mystic Might, which is needed for a Lumbridge achievement diary, and level 59 magic to cast Fire Blast, also for the achievement diary. 45 prayer might not sound like a lot, but when all you have is regular bones to bury, it is a lot. And 45 magic is by far the worst of the combat skills for me to train in my chunk. I'll talk more about both of these later, but the other skilling grinds are 40 attack for an Adamant battle axe, 40 ranged for an Adamant throwing axe, 5 defense for a spiny helmet, 40 constitution to get the maximum healing for a jug of wine, 38 thieving for pickpocketing master farmers, 35 cooking for making a jug of wine, and 30 fishing for catching a salmon. Although, given some other tasks, I'll need to go some distance beyond that. I also have 10 different monsters in my chunk, which I have to kill at least once, but the most interesting ones are goblins, who provide the only two combat collection log entries for this chunk, the Goblin Mail and the Goblin Book, men and women, who are my best sorts of herbs if I decide to collect them, cows, who would be awesome as they have a low level but a lot of HP, making them great for XP, but I can't get into the cow pen, so I can only kill them with ranged or magic, and ham guards, who are both the highest level monster in my chunk, clocking in at a mighty level 30, but also have a very weird and interesting drop table of unusual items. I think I'll be killing a lot of these poor guys on my way to level 45 prayer. There's a lot to do this episode, but almost all of it requires healing food, so I think the best place to start is with fish and crayfish to level 20, which is where I am. Level 10 fishing, that's level 15 fishing, and level 20 fishing. Now it's time to cook these bad boys up and move on from there. Actually, I lied. First, before we get too deep into the episode, I'm going to go talk to Hans, who will be able to tell me just how long I've been playing so far, so you have an idea of how long episode 1 took me to make. Gosh, that's like 80 hours. I'm such a loser. Alright, I've got 400 crayfish to cook, and that is level 10 cooking. That's level 15 cooking. Blowing through level 20 cooking. Level 25 cooking. And these are the last of the crayfish, and that got me to level 27 cooking. Jagex devs, take note, this is how processing skills are supposed to work, where you get more XP from the processing than the gathering. Not like with fletching, where you need twice as many logs to get a fletching level as a woodcutting level. I mean, just saying, my consulting rate is extremely reasonable if you need more ideas from me. Put a message in the YouTube comments or something. I've been a Runescape pacifist for the past few weeks, but it's finally time to start killing things. So I'm going to start off by selling my leftover oak shield bows to the general store. I'll keep the stack of willows until I need them. I'm not quite ready to say goodbye yet. And now that I've done that, I can hop on over to Bob's Axes and buy one of each of the battle axes: iron, steel, mithril, and adamant, which I should have enough money for. I do have enough money for. I don't actually have the level to use any of these yet, but I will soon. I've been thinking a little bit about the best way to start, and I think it's actually to get a Slayer task from Jacqueline. In fact, I think it's time for a bit of an explanation. Did you know there was a Slayer Master in Lumbridge? It's a bit of a strange one. Ever since 2005, Turiel, the beginner Slayer Master, has been in Berthorpe. In 2012, as part of a general rebalance of early game RuneScape to make it more beginner friendly, Jagex added Jacqueline Manslaughter, not as a Slayer Master, but as a Slayer Tutor. What does a Slayer Tutor do? Well, not much it turns out, and in 2019 she was quietly retired for serving no purpose. But in 2021 she made a triumphant return in a ninja update, no longer as a Slayer Tutor, but now as a fully fledged Slayer Master, right here in Lumbridge Castle. Also, they made it kind of hot. Like Turiel, she doesn't have any combat or Slayer requirements, but she has two cool factors. Firstly, she only assigns monsters local to the Lumbridge area, 12 to be precise. With 5 of them in my area and 2 unassignable at level 1, you can use the weightings from the wiki to work out I have a 50% chance of getting a doable task, which is kind of nuts considering I only have one chunk to work with. Plus, I'm only a couple of chunks away from unlocking every monster she can assign. In theory, unlocking new best in slot weapons, the Slayer Staff, Slayer Arrows, and Leaf Bladed Spear. It's vanishingly unlikely I can unlock them in this chunk, but there's a decent chance I can unlock them down the line. Secondly, unlike Turiel, Jacqueline actually provides Slayer points for completing tasks. Not a lot of Slayer points, but not 0 either. Slayer points unlock a ton of interesting stuff, but the one that immediately grabs my attention is the ability to fletch broad arrows, which would massively improve my fletching grinds. Let me know in the comments, by the way, if you'd like these little asides on unusual or out-of-the-way content, and I can make sure to add more in the future. Anyway, none of this theory crafting matters if I don't get a doable task from her. So, do I pass that coin flip? 22 cows, yes! Yes, I can do that. I'll need to use range to get to them, but I can do that task. Getting a Slayer task from my Lumbridge waifu was also a chunk task, so chunk task done. I triumphed over a cow, and that is a Staff of Air, which is pretty cool because that is actually a chunk task, best in slot magic weapon, and it effectively unlocks magic training for us as well. I'll mostly be ranging these guys over the wall, but I did find a cow wandering outside, so I decided to melee that one first. So, you will notice that I am an idiot because I forgot that area loot exists. For some reason, I thought I couldn't get loot from the cows inside the pen, and I've been saying that. But yeah, obviously I can. I am deeply stupid sometimes. This is also level 5 Slayer and just 3 cows left, so hopefully I get a second task. It doesn't really matter, but it would be cool to get as high a Slayer level as possible in this chunk. So I got 2 prayer level from this Slayer task, unlock Crawling Hands, which are all the way over in Mauritania, and do I get lucky again? Oh, she's giving me a book. Thanks, I guess. 18 spiders! I can do that too! I'll use melee for this one though. Okay, I got to level 3 in attack, strength, and defense, and I got the Slayer level for cave bugs, which Jacqueline can assign, so now my chance of getting a doable task is a little below 50%. I also got a bunch of spider silk, though, which is potentially quite interesting if I can get up my crafting level and some thread, but let's talk about that later. 23 goblins! The streak continues. I can do goblins. This is attack, strength, and defense level 5. Slowly but surely, we're becoming a warrior. Hey, that is the first collection log from my account, the Goblin Book. It's just a 1 in 64, but it's still pretty spoon to get it after like, I don't know, 20 goblins. That's also level 10 Slayer, pretty cool. From goblins, I only need just the goblin armor now. It's supposed to be 1 in 16, but it's one of those things that I worry might only drop after goblin diplomacy. Oh, never mind, it just dropped. So that's another pair of chunk tasks done. The task is over. Level 10 Slayer unlocks cave crawlers, which are in Lumbridge Swamp, but I don't think Jacqueline assigns them. They're a super interesting monster to me actually, because they are probably my best source of Herblore drops nearby, especially Herblore secondaries. Also, now I have 5 defense, I can buy and equip a spiny helmet, which is my best in slot melee gear, and a chunk task. Boom. I will be sacrificing my beautiful chef hat, which I just got from goblins now. Wow, look at me. I am such a boss. No, actually, I can't even fake it. That looks very dumb. Look at the textures. Anyway, do you have another task for me, Jacqueline? 15 birds? Yes. Yes, I can kill ducks. And ducks are birds. Another task I can do. I'm about to get level 10 magic from these ducks, and this clip is perfectly illustrating why they suck. I mean, look at the pathing. It's monstrously bad. Also, they drop nothing, and they give like barely any XP. Terrible task. Also, they make sad duck noises when they die. Why? Who coded that in? I don't record game sounds on OBS, so I'm gonna have to come in later to kill more ducks during post-production, just so I can show you the terrible sounds they make. Level 11 Slayer. My next task is rats? That's 5 tasks in a row I can do. That is crazy. I was trying to lure the big rats into my chunk without success, but here's an imp. No, stop teleporting. Stop teleporting again! Did he die outside my chunk? They drop blue wizard robes, which is my best in slot mage gear, so I do need to kill them at some point for that. This one dropped nothing though. Okay, I've given up luring the big rats, but here's another imp. Come on, let's dance. Oh wow, that's the blue wizard hat. I mean, it's a common drop, but still, that's my second kill. Best in slot mage gear? Unlocked. Alright, that's another task done. And the rats are also, yeah, pretty terrible task. They're so small, it's hard to click on them with my chunky sausage fingers. 20 more goblins, that's weird. That's weird, right? Like 6 tasks in a row? More rats? Okay, spiders. That's 8 tasks in a row, and maybe I'm misunderstanding something? Like, I struggle to believe I've just won what is basically 8 coin flips in a row. Sorry, look at this absolute Chad Ezo Stars with the sword and board, full steel armor and weaponry. I can only dream of being this cool. That is level 10 attack, and that unlocks my first ever damage upgrade on this account, Iron Battle Axes. It's a huge DPS increase. I'm going to put up how damage works on the screen because, well, I'm a huge nerd, and I find this kind of thing interesting, and maybe you do too. The formula on the screen shows how ability damage is calculated for melee with two-handed weapons in RS3. The formula is slightly different for dual wielding and other combat styles, but it's functionally the same. There's 3 components. The first component defines your strength contribution. Each strength level increases your damage by 4. The second term defines how your weapon impacts damage. Each tier weapon increases your damage by 14.4. The final term shows how the strength bonus from gear, like amulets, affects damage. Each level of strength from equipment, not including weapons, increases damage by 1.5. Going from bronze, a tier 5 weapon, to iron, a tier 10 weapon, has the same increase in damage as going from strength level 1 to level 18. You can see on this graph how damage increases with attack compared to strength, and how increasing my attack is a much bigger deal than my strength, as long as I can keep equipping new, higher tier gear. This isn't even including the increased accuracy from a higher level attack. If you include that, then this is how my damage scales against handguards as I increase attack versus increasing strength. This is why magic is going to be so slow to train, by the way. I'll be stuck with an air staff, just a tier 5 weapon, the whole time. You can see here how my damage versus handguard scales with my magic level as well. It's not quite as bad as leveling strength, because at least my level in magic increases my damage and accuracy, but it does mean that getting to level 59 magic is going to be more painful than you might expect. Anyway, all of this is to explain why I'll generally be prioritizing leveling attack over strength, at least until level 40. I killed another imp, but it teleported as it died, and it dropped the blue wizard robe bottoms, which is my best in slot gear, so that's another best in slot item achieved. I'm still getting Slayer tasks, and there's definitely something not quite right here, but that's level 5 prayer at goblins. I could have got them earlier, but these spiked gauntlets from the Slayer shop are actually my best in-slot gloves for mage, range, and melee. They're not great, but they give a bit of tank defense, so chunk task complete. It's not technically a chunk task to kill a super cow, it's basically the elite Slayer version of a regular cow, which only spawns during Slayer tasks, but I feel like it should be, so I'm going to show me killing it now. The Super Cow drops 5k at a time too, which is pretty cool. Hey, that is level 10 strength and defense, and as I think I explained earlier, I will now switch back to attack, all the way until I unlock Adamant weapons at level 40. Wow, 21k bugs. It finally happened. I am Slayer locked after 14 tasks. So, if you believe the wiki, there's roughly a 1 in 16,000 chance of me getting 14 doable tasks in a row. So, I think the wiki is wrong. I can't prove this, but what I suspect is that this is related to the Lumbridge Catacombs and the Blood Pack quest, which I haven't done. You see, frogs, cave bugs, and cave slimes, which I can't get to, are in the Lumbridge Swamp, but the other 4 tasks I can't do, bats, ghosts, zombies, and skeletons, all live in the Lumbridge Catacombs. The Lumbridge Catacombs are locked behind the Blood Pack quest, which I haven't and can't do. So, my best guess is that the game checks if you've done Blood Pack, and if you haven't, it probably doesn't assign monsters from the Lumbridge Catacombs. Again, I can't know that for sure, but it seems more likely than the alternative. Alright, this is going to be level 10 prayer, and the silver lining to getting Slayer locked is I no longer have to kill random terrible monsters like ducks, and can just focus on grinding out my combat stats as efficiently as possible, which I think right now is goblins. And that is level 20 attack, and that will be steel battle axes unlocked. Oh yeah, look at those axes, what a baller. They weirdly kind of look like they should go with the spiny helm, but the spiny helm texture is just so different that they don't. This is the joy of Chunkman though, right? Like, you just have the weirdest armor setups. With my steel battle axes, spiked gauntlets, and spiny helm. Beautiful stuff. I missed the level, but that is level 15 prayer, and my poor hands are already starting to hurt from bearing all these bones. 45 prayer is it's gonna be something, let me tell you that. Level 30 attack. Mithril weaponry unlocked, and let's go grab those from the bank. I also unlocked Barge, that's pretty cool. Let's take a look at the axes. I really like them, they look nice. Level 20 prayer and God robes unlocked. I could theoretically get them. It's a shame that I don't really benefit from prayer here because it's just not worth using. I mean, look at me, I am tearing these goblins apart. The limitation is running around and bearing the bones, which is the whole point of this grind, right, to get to level 45 prayer. And it is a lot less chill than woodcutting, let me tell you that. Level 30 constitution, nice round level. Alright, I am getting very close to level 40 attack, just a handful of goblins left. And it hasn't been as bad as I thought. There's so many goblins here that it goes faster than I thought it would, because you don't have to worry about respawn times. The only issue is all the objects on the ground, like the dead trees and the fire pit and stuff, they weirdly mess up the area loot, so sometimes you can't loot stuff even if it's like within your area loot, like right next to you, because the environmental objects seem to interfere with the loot pathing pretty badly. And that's level 40 attack, which is great, because now I can use my Adamant battle axes. And that's probably the best melee weapon I'll have for a long time. I mean, potentially the next unlock would be a leaf-bladed spear, maybe, if I get the right chunks unlocked. Let's see the other levels I got here. Level 23 prayer, which unlocks the Bone Crusher. Boy, what I would do to get one of those. Jagex, I would do terrible things for Bone Crusher on this account. Unspeakable things. It would be so much faster if I didn't have to manually bury these bones, and I wouldn't have RSI in my hands. I got level 31 constitution too, that's pretty cool. And I've buried about 1,400 bones so far, which is about 10% of the way through the prayer grind. Let's go grab the axes in the bank. How do they look? I like them. They're a lot chunkier and heavier than the mithril axes. I'm going to kill one goblin with them, just take them for a spin, see how it feels. It feels pretty good. One grind ends and another begins, so let's get to ranging. I thought I'd stay at Cow's for a bit first, get to level 10, and then go get some iron throwing axes from Bob. First level coming, and that is level 2. Level 5 range. Level 10 range, and that's iron throwing axes unlocked. I really don't know how fast I'll go through the axes, so I think I'll just buy as many as I can. I also don't know if I'll end up leaving a bunch of axes in the cow pens, in which case I'll have to go back to the goblins instead. I do like the earmuffs though, they look like headphones. I look like I'm some jogger in the park or something listening to music. That's level 15 range, and I do think I need to leave the cow pens behind and go to goblins. Sometimes I leave axes in the cow pen where they're too far away for me to loot them back with area loot, and also the XP is just not as good as I thought it would be, because there's only a few cows I can reach, so I have to wait for them to respawn. So I think goblins will be better, even if on paper cows are the best XP in my chunk. This goblin is going to be level 20 range, and I gotta say, training range, other than the fact that I'm slowly running out of axes, is much more chill than training melee, because I don't have to run around picking up loot and dealing with the dog-awful pathing of these trees. I just throw an axe, the goblin comes to me, so looting is much faster. That is going to unlock steel throwing axes. It would be really cool if I could get my hands on a bowstring, but I think I can't. Okay, I'm going to buy all the steel throwing axes then. I'll also buy all the mithril axes, and if I can afford them, I'll buy all the Adamant axes. This is a big brain play, because they don't sell very many of the higher tier throwing axes, so if I buy them each time I come to the store, then by the time I get level 30 and 40 range, I'll have a nice stockpile of them built up in the bank. That's going to be level 25 range. Level 26 range, but more importantly, I'm just a goblin away from level 25 prayer. Slowly making my way to 45. That is level 30 range, and give me a second to bury these bones. I got a lot of them. I also finally got smart and put the bury bone button on my hotbar and keybound it, so now I can just spam the one key on my keyboard, which actually helps quite a bit. Do I really unlock anything? I mean, a whole bunch of stuff, but I think the only thing that matters here is the mithril throwing axes. Random firemaking level coming up for level 66 firemaking. And the context here is that I'm starting to put this episode together, and when I do that, I tend to come and do woodcutting and firemaking, because it's basically the only AFK thing I can do in this chunk. There are quite a few major woodcutting grinds near my starter chunk. Basically, if I get a chunk with an elder tree, I need to get 95 fletching and 90 firemaking, and oh boy, that's going to take a while, so I might as well get the head start now. That's also level 78 woodcutting. You're about to see something special. The first ever daily task on this account, and it's going to be a Herblore daily task. I need to kill men to get 6 squams, clean them, and then that's the task. Herblore is a nightmare to train on a chunk man, and there are some spicy Herblore grinds nearby, so daily tasks are going to be critical. Hey, okay, that is 6 grinding squams I got here, and men and women are just terrible to kill. Not just for moral reasons, not just because it's wrong, but also because they have like 100 hit points, so they give basically no XP, and there's not that many of them, and they take a while to respawn. I got level 20 magic too, and this unlocks the spider wand and orb, which would be a nice magic upgrade if I can get the runecrafting level for it, which is going to be tough in this chunk where it's impossible to train runecrafting. Tough, but not impossible. I have a plan. Maybe. But the main reason I'm here is to clean 6 grimy guams. And then let's go up here, claim my reward, and that's going to take me all the way to level 4 Herblore, which is less than I thought I would get. It's not much, but it's something, right? If I do every single Herblore daily I get my hands on, then it's going to add up. That is level 35 Constitution and a nice milestone. And now I'm using steel throwing axes in my main hand, because I keep running out of the mithril ones, and they just don't restock fast enough in the shop, which is a bit unfortunate. I hadn't really appreciated I'd be running out of throwing axes, but I guess it's something to think about. Level 35 range, and we're getting pretty close to the end of the grind here. I've got 27 prayer too as well. Boom, level 40 range. That's really nice. I got as high as level 29 prayer, 37 constitution, and that is the chunk task done. I can go equip my adamant throwing axes, I have some in the bank, and I haven't actually been a huge fan of the throwing axes. I lose them all the time, and they're very expensive to get from the axe shop, so they're actually not fantastic. I've been using the steel axes a lot because it's just not sustainable to use the mithril ones. I just ran out of them. Anyway, let's take a look at the adamant axes, and that is a chunk task done. They look pretty cool, a little bit small, but then again, I guess they're throwing axes. I'll go and kill one goblin with them, just so you can see what they're like, but honestly I just one-shot the goblins. Yep, there you go. So I think the next step in the master plan is actually to go and do some thieving training. I'll start by pickpocketing men, but at level 2 I'll go steal from stalls, which will give me food and seeds and stuff, which is much better. Level 2, and level 2 I can steal from vegetable stall now, which I think is going to be better because I keep getting punched by this man. And I've also got this dodgy flyer, which I believe starts the Thieves quest, the Thieves Guild quest line. So I actually can't do that because, okay, please stop talking. I can't do that because it is just up here, I believe, on the other side of that building. So I can't get past this point. And I would need to get to this little trapdoor right here. So unfortunately I can't do it yet, but I can start that quest line if I roll the north chunk from my next chunk. Level 5 thieving, and now I can unlock the baking stall and the crafting stall. There's also a new mob here, the Lumbridge Guard. For some reason he's not on the chunk picker. I think he should be. He just drops bones though, and he respawns super slowly, so he's not useful to me, but yeah, he exists, and now he's dead. Weird that he's not the chunk picker. That is going to be level 10 thieving, beautiful. I can pickpocket farmers, but I think there are no farmers in my chunk, just master farmers. Alright, that is level 15 thieving, and interestingly, I can now pickpocket female ham members, but I don't think I could even get into the ham hideout until like level 18 or 19 or 20. Anyway, the bakery stall is pretty good XP, and the food is useful, so I will stay here for now. And that's level 20 thieving now, which is very cool because I can pickpocket male ham followers, which is fine. I won't be doing that. But what I can also do is get into the ham hideout. By the way, the reason I'm not going to be pickpocketing ham followers is because if you fail enough times, they can kick you out of the hideout, and potentially they could kick me out somewhere outside of my chunk, and I don't want to test that. Okay, I'm in. So instead of pickpocketing, I'll have to fight the guards for loot instead. Wow, this place is huge. I need to explore and work out the best spots for killing these guards. Oh, there's a range down here. That's interesting. I didn't know that. That's the only range I have in this chunk until I complete Cook's Assistant, I think. I haven't really talked about why I want to kill ham guards. I was initially going to finish this prayer grind in this video, but I'm putting the video together and it's already pretty long, so maybe I'll put that into the next video. In which case, let me know in the comments if you can guess what I need from ham guards so desperately that I'm prepared to try killing 10,000 of them. Alright, so we're moving towards the end of the video. I've got up to level 80 woodcutting and I'm about to hit level 73 firemaking, just from FKing at U-logs whilst I edit the video, which, if you do the math, will give you an idea of how long it takes to edit these videos actually. So if you had a good time, please do like and subscribe. It makes a big difference and helps keep me motivated throughout the 14,000 bones I need to try and bury to get to level 45 prayer. And obviously I also recorded the clip where I got level 69 woodcutting. It's important for narrative reasons that you don't miss that level. Next video we're going to be getting level 45 prayer, 59 magic, and we're going to be completing a secret grind I haven't really mentioned because it's locked behind the ham member drop table. So peace out, and catch you next time.